Hey, I'm Josiah with Rockwell Farms. Today, Chris is joining us. She's kind of our tree expert here at the nursery. Chris does such a good job at taking care of the nursery, especially when Mark and I are gone. So we appreciate you being on the show today. Mark is out of town still, so today we're going to be going over a few things. Thank you for joining us on this episode. We're going to be going over a few things with trees today. Kind of some fast-growing trees, and then also kind of give you a demo on how we plant our fruit trees. It is fall, so we have...
Good time to plant trees.
Yeah, it's a great time. So what do you got there? We got a comment?
So today we have a comment from Pamela, is it Phelan?
Pamela Phelan.
Do you have a video on the best shade trees that grow fast? So
Yeah.
today we're going to walk you through and show you some of our shade trees that are a little faster growing so that you can get some bigger trees in your yard.
Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go walk through
All
some
right.
shade trees that grow fast. Well, okay, so we're going over shade trees. I love fall for planting trees. It's actually the best time to plant trees.
It is.
So you have cooler temperatures. What do you got here?
So what we have here is our Shumard oak.
Okay.
And while oaks are typically slow growing, this one here will grow a foot to a foot and a half a year. So it is our fastest growing shade tree for the oak variety that we have here in the greenhouse.
And this one actually, I like this one because it gives you more of a burnt orange in the fall rather than your typical red oak or pin oaks that just turn brown and dingy. This one actually gives you some good fall color. And also takes a really nice rounded shape, kind of that southern style oak tree. That's a good one.
Yeah, a really good shade tree.
Oh yeah, let's find some more.
All right, let's see what we have down here. So this here is our tulip poplar.
Yes.
It's going to grow 2 to 3 feet a year, and it does have a beautiful, beautiful bloom that looks like a tulip. Real pink. It's going to be really pretty foliage for you in the fall.
Beautiful.
And it's a very fast-growing shade tree. So if you want some flowers and some shade, this is your tree. They grow really tall and really fast.
So we like this tree, the tulip poplar, because you get that golden yellow, and usually everybody loves the shape of the leaves. I'll pull one of these off of here so you can see it. Has a beautiful shape to the leaf, a little bit different. Canes here in town. We're in Northwest Arkansas, and we have canes, Raising Canes. Really good food. We're not sponsored by them, but we could be. But really good food. Anyways, they have some beautiful tulip poplars out there, and every time I drive through their drive-through, it is like, oh my goodness, beautiful tree. Really fast grower, that golden yellow in the fall. That's why we carry this tree, is because really the golden yellow in the fall, it's our replacement for the silver maple that turns a yellow. We do not carry the silver maple because it's a very scrappy tree.
It is.
Breaks really easy in the wind, and we try to stay away from soft wooded maples. So that's a really good one. Glad you showed us that. Let's go to the next one.
This is our weeping willow. These are very fast growing. So 3 to 4 feet a year.
Yeah, that's huge.
It is going to be a very nice tree. They do prefer water sources. They do not have to be planted in water sources. They do tend to grow closer to, water. They will seek out water, so they'll put out those roots until they find it. But if you do plant one of these, you're just going to have a little more watering, but it's worth it long term because they are beautiful, beautiful shade trees. Your kids and dogs are going to love to lay under or play under.
Extremely fast. I'm actually a little bit jealous of this tree because it's always got a good hairdo, and mine is thinning out, so but yeah, we actually went over this tree in our last video. This is a great one. One of our questions, I can't remember the name of her name, but in the last video we actually went over this. These are good for a wet spot, and they will soak up that water. They do extremely well. But if you have a dry spot, it's okay too. You're just going to have some more watering to do until the tree gets established. So usually it's first and second year you have a little bit more watering, but this does grow in drier areas as long as you're watering it till it's established. This tree grows so fast, so fast. So awesome. That's a good one too. Why don't we move on to some maples that grow really fast, because those are going to give some really good fall color. And then I think we can talk about black gum in the back. Those are pretty fast growing too.
All right, this here is our red point maple. We have maples in all variety of foliage, from red to burgundy to orange. Yeah. And these are hardwood maples. They are not softwood, so you can get them planted in your yard. They're not going to blow around and break in the wind. Yeah. They do grow 2 to 3 feet a year. And so you're going to have nice growth, and you're going to have beautiful foliage in the fall. and it'll be a really good shade tree for your yard.
Yeah, a lot of people move here. We're getting a lot of people that move from like California and kind of the west side, or from areas that they don't really get to enjoy 4 seasons. Here in Northwest Arkansas, we get to enjoy all 4 seasons. There's an ice storm, we don't really enjoy that part, but you know, in the fall, we get to really enjoy all of the different colors in the trees. And so maple is a really good seller here just because you have different color all over the place. What's your favorite shade tree?
I do like the maples. They are my favorite. I have 3 or 4 in my yard of different colors, and this time of year they're just beautiful.
So it's like a fiesta.
It's great to sit
in
on
the
my
fall
porch
for
and
your
just
yard.
see all the color.
Yeah,
for sure.
I get excited about this weather. It's starting to cool off.
It's nice.
And some of the leaves are just starting to get a tinge and a little bit of blush in them, and so it makes me want to drink some hot coffee and wear a sweater, and so I get excited about this season. Pretty
apple
good.
cider.
Yeah, oh yeah, apple cider. There we go. Let's find another tree to talk
right.
about. So we've got here an October Glory. Now this is another maple, but it grows really fast, still about 2 to 3 foot per year. Your October Glory, why don't you talk about the color that it gets?
It's gonna be bright orange and turn to crimson.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have a lot of color in this tree here. It's gonna give you a really beautiful foliage.
So my mother-in-law's neighbor, they have one of these planted in their yard, and this is where we actually take fall photos, and their family does. So this is a beautiful tree. Sometimes I see it in the fall. It's got bright, almost fluorescent orange all on the outside with a little bit of red in it, and then it's like on the inside of the tree it's like a bright yellow, and so it's just got a whole bunch of variants of color. But this, I would say, probably grows the fastest and most rapid. But with that being said, usually trees that grow extremely fast, you have to be leery of breaking branches and stuff. This one, you actually don't really have to worry about that. So that's a really good
really
pick.
good in this region.
Yeah. So let's go back there. Let's talk about some black gum, the wildfire. That's actually Mark's favorite tree.
Yes, it is.
And so let's go talk about him while he's gone. What do we got here?
Okay, right here we have the wildfire black gum.
Love it.
It is a great tree for landscapers, for close to sidewalks and into streets. We sometimes call them street trees. They have beautiful, beautiful foliage in the fall. You're going to love the looks of these trees, and we have actually sold most of them to a landscaper this week.
Yeah.
So we will have to revamp our inventory to get some more trees.
Kidding.
But we can make sure that we have some more coming in for you if you're interested in the wildfire black.
Yeah, so these do sell really fast. If you look through here, all of these have sold tags on them already. But they do grow, they do make a great shade tree. The reason people like using these around like roadsides or driveways and whatnot is because the root system is less invasive on this wildfire black gum. And then the beautiful color, especially coming down your driveway, beautiful, beautiful color in the fall. I mean, yellow to red. Actually, let me pull a picture here.
You got one.
You can see the color in that. Makes a great shade tree, especially for up close to the house. Sorry, I'm shaking because I drank too much coffee. But this is such a beautiful tree. And then all of the new growth, when this flushes out in the spring, you also get some red growth, all of the new growth. And so it doesn't look like a lot right now, just here and there. But when this tree is a lot larger, it does make a difference because you'll see more red up coming through the new growth. So this is a great one. I think this grows, what is it, 2.5 to 3 foot per year. So it does grow fast as well. So another really good shade tree. All right, why don't we transition into, you're gonna show us how we plant fruit trees. Right now is fall, so it's actually the best time to plant fruit trees. So that way you get to enjoy that fruit coming next harvest season. So yeah, let's go to that.
Go ahead, Josiah.
Awesome, well, Chris is putting me to work. Chris, why don't you talk about planting the fruit tree and what we did last fall, and I'll go ahead and dig your hole.
All right,
there we go.
All right, today we're going to be planting an apricot tree, and you can see the size here, how it starts out. But we're going to go down here and see what we planted last fall. Just pick a tree. This is a peach tree, and you can see from that size over there to here what the growth is going to be in 1 year. And so we have 3 of them here, and they're all in really good shape and had fruit. So we're just gonna span here and look at our trees. You got that hole dug yet?
My mic's still hooked up. Can you hear me breathing heavy?
No, I can't.
Oh, goodness. I'm getting pretty close.
Getting close to digging that hole.
There we go.
I'll just go ahead and talk about this apricot here. Apricot is one of my favorite fruit trees. I grew up with a great grandmother that had a apricot tree, so I grew up picking apricots. And so we're gonna put one here today, as soon as Josiah gets his hole dug.
Awesome, look at that huge worm right there.
Oh, nice.
Golly, where was he while I
worm.
was fishing last week?
Not catching your fish.
Right.
This Moore Park apricot is the bigger apricot. It does ripen in June, and it'll give you some really nice fruit. It is self-pollinating, so if you decide you want an apricot in your yard, this is the only tree that you need.
Yeah, that's pretty nice, not having to get, if you don't have the space,
don't have to have two.
Get something self-pollinating. Now, we do recommend having a second one. You will get a higher yield,
Right.
but if you don't have the space, you can get one, you'll still get fruit. Great for small yards. Okay, so what I got here is I have dug my hole. I usually go about 50% wider to 2 times wider. There has been a tree here before, so the ground is already actually loosened up around it. That's why it took me so little to dig that hole, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my tree, I'm gonna pull it out of the bucket.
I tried to loosen it a little bit.
And you have these roots that circle the pot, totally okay. I'm just gonna take my nail, kind of break those up a little bit with the tips of my fingers. You can see that kind of loosens that up. All right. And I like the root ball to be level with the edge. Right here is higher. So we're under that and we're above this. And that's perfectly okay. So you can see I've got space, enough space around here. I'm gonna show you what I use, and actually we're gonna use this grow. This is how we cheated last year on our fruit trees. And I say cheated because it really does feel that way, because this tree, or I'm sorry, those trees over there were the same size as this tree just last fall. And that's pretty significant growth off of this method that I'm showing you right now. Again, we're getting into fall, so better time to plant, because even though your trees are going, I'm still out of breath. Even though your trees are going dormant, that's actually when your root system is colonizing the best and making the most, because instead of everything going up to here, it can focus on its root system. And you have higher precipitation through the fall, winter, and spring, which is also really good for your trees. And you have far less stress on your trees rather than planting them going into summer. So this is what we do. So I'm actually gonna, that's good depth. I'm gonna pull my tree back out. I'm gonna sprinkle some of this in the bottom of my hole. There we go. Sprinkle a little bit on top of there. Now this is Grow from Royal Gold. These guys are awesome. We've had Adrian out here on one of our shows before. And so this is organic, which I like going that direction for our trees, because we want to eat this fruit. What you put into your tree, you will get out of your tree. So also why I like this is because it takes a little longer to break down into the soil. It's going to continuously feed that soil and kind of help your soil become the thing that feeds your tree by kind of changing the soil structure in that. So the next thing I do, this is a pretty regular thing we do, Chris.
It is. We
at
use
the nursery
cotton burr for everything.
So when you purchase your trees here at Rockwell Farms, now first off, if you buy 3 trees, then we'll plant for free. Something that you can have added pretty cheap, because you just pay for the compost, and then our installers mix that in for free. So they're going to do what I'm showing you to do. Look at that huge worm. I'm so sorry. It's crazy.
Will you put it back in your hole?
Yeah, look at how happy he is. Okay. Anyways, so you can actually have this added to when you're getting your trees installed, and this is something that we can do for you. And depending on where you're at, you should be able to ask your local garden center if they do plant trees or shrubs that they would add something in like this. This is cotton burr compost. So this is actually what's left over in the cotton fields. They make it into a compost, and so it's really nice and airy and loamy, has good porosity. This is also going to help if you have clay soil, which here in Arkansas, we got a lot of red clay and rock. It's just what the builders prefer to use, especially if you got a newer home that's built. This is going to help break up some of that clay and aerate that. So those roots that you see above ground, those are called breather roots. And what they're doing is there's not enough oxygen into the soil, maybe because there's too much clay. And so they'll come up to the surface. They're going to surface to get that oxygen out of the air, which is why they're called breather roots. This right here, having your soil amended, is going to help to eliminate some of that. Won't completely eradicate that from happening, but it will help tremendously so your trees can have a really good chance at establishing into your soil. Because if you have too many top roots, your roots are above ground, and if we get a heavy wind, what did we just see a couple months ago?
Yeah,
you know, with the tornado coming through, trees all over the place, just blown over. So what I'm gonna do is you want to use about 1/3 to 50% of the soil, that volume that you pull out of the hole in this cotton burr compost. So one bag actually covers 3 15-gallon trees or 3 fruit trees. So you really don't need a lot. So it's a pretty cheap way to make sure your trees are taken care of. All right. Probably actually have a little too much there. I'm gonna take that chunk out. All right. Take some of that out. Let's set that down in there.
Looks nice and straight.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Again, this is something that our installers can do for you as well. But if you're at a different nursery or in a different area, you can ask your garden center to do this for you. So what we like to do with tree planting, we like to use all that extra spoil. So in other words, we don't want to take all that extra dirt, put it in a bucket, toss it away or put it to the side. We actually use that, and I'll show you here why. So we're actually going to use all of that to kind of make a well for our tree, so that way it's going to hold that water a lot better. So that way when we're watering, we can kind of fill up that well and or that berm, so that way it catches the water and you're watering your tree and not your entire yard. And I'm just going to circle back around all the way to the root system. And that right there is it. So after that, we've got our root stimulator. If you're getting newly planted trees, we do recommend this root stimulator. You can buy it at most garden centers that sell fertile products. We do carry this here at the nursery. And so I think this for a 15-gallon, I want to say it's 5.25 ounces, I believe. I could be wrong. I'll go up and check later, but you're going to mix this with water and you're going to water this into your trees. You do that in a number of 3 times. Some people will do it before planting, like how I did with this right here. But I actually like doing it afterwards I think it's a little bit easier because then you're actually watering in the root system with this, and I think it works a lot better. And so that's how we recommend to use your root stimulator product. But other than that, so we might stake and tie this. Right here we're up against a concrete ugly wall, which is kind of what we're trying to hide with these fruit trees, rather than you know, dealing with this ugly wall. And so we don't get a whole lot of wind here, so we're not going to stake and tie this. But the difference from this size right here to the peach trees that you saw is just one growing season. And so this method has been working for us. This is what we do at our nursery, and this is how we plant our fruit trees. Chris, get all the dirt off my forehead?
I think you got a little bit, but I think you're doing okay today.
Did it look like I had a unibrow on there? That's funny. Awesome. Well, we covered some pretty good bases today in this show. Thank you so much for joining me on this and helping me out. You know, Mark is still gone, and you know, so hey, our winner, we announced our winner on the last week's show for our 25-gallon shade tree, Rita Brown. Hey, thank you, Rita, so much for following us here on our show, and we hope we're helping your gardening experience. You know what's awesome is Christy and I called Rita, and we announced that she won. She was so thrilled and tickled, and she told us, she said, well, wait a second, I just also came up there and got some trees from y'all, and so I'm kind of running low on space because my grandkids need some space to play in the yard. And we said, okay. She said, well, can I give it to my son? They actually lost some trees in the tornado. And she said, can I give it to my son and my daughter-in-law? And we said, absolutely you can. We thought that was so cool that she wanted to pass that on and bless somebody else with that. And so Rita, thank you again. We're so glad, we're tickled that you won and it got to help somebody out that lost their trees from the tornado. So we think that's really cool. If you have any questions about gardening or anything that we talked about today, or maybe it has nothing to do with anything we talked about today, go ahead and leave in the comments and we'd love to answer that question on our show. Or maybe it's a statement or a recommendation for what shows to do next. We certainly take all of those in mind. And we actually get a lot of our content in our shows based off of like that comment that we got that you read off earlier. So we do get our content that way. That helps us to figure out what's current, what people are needing to know right now, and we love to help. So go ahead and leave a comment. You can also like us and follow us on, you can like us on, how does that work? Is it Instagram or Faceagram? So you can like us on Facebook. You like on Facebook, follow on Instagram. I don't do any of those, so I lose it, you know? So
you got it.
Okay. And then you can also subscribe to our channel. That helps us push this content out to help other gardeners. So thank you so much for watching, Chris.
You guys have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks for
you.
coming to see us.
Awesome.